There are things I need of you. Things you may not understand and may not wish to do, but please do not make the same mistakes I did. My father, Howard, deserted me before I was born. I could claim the loss of my mother, and the letter I received after her funeral blinded me to what I had to do. It would be a lie. Human nature sealed my downfall. My name is Philip. If we are lucky, then by the time you receive this, I will be dead. If fate falls, we all perish. My story began in February, year 2000.
For my part in this allegory, I'm not going to make the same mistakes my father made. Howard vanished from my mother's life before I was even in it, so when he sent me a letter a few days after Mum's funeral, it was the first I'd ever heard from him. Pity he was dead. Writing from beyond the grave must be a genetic habit in my bloodline. His letter contained a key, instructions, pleas for forgiveness. I figured the dead don't have much use for absolution, so I turned to his prophetic passing, which he inexplicably expected to come any day. Clearly averse to explanations, my father preferred to leave directions to a bank on Mayfair I'd never even heard of. In that bank was a safety deposit box in his name, and myself as executor. Of course, I went, as he knew I would. I discovered that despite the evidence, he'd been legally declared dead almost 30 years ago, and so the old book and collection of notes I found had, in the eyes of the law, been mine all this time. My father's instructions were to burn the documents, raise no further questions. But that was his error. No man's immune to the shameful trappings of curiosity, and my humanity got the better of me. The university I taught at was world renowned for two things: physics and linguistics. I represented the first, and the man who stood for the second was stumped by my recent acquisition. The book was indecipherable. The notes, however, showed a location somewhere in uninhabited northern Greenland. It took me almost a year to book the last flight I'd ever take. As I watched civilization disappear along with Heathrow, I realised my father had disappeared 3 decades ago, almost to the day, and I considered in turn what it was that I was leaving behind. We landed on a strip of ice a few feet wide, and within minutes I was pulling away on a chartered boat, beginning the 12-hour journey that would lead me into my past.
Finally, we almost docked. I've better store my gear. I may be far from home, but chances are I can still pick up things and I can take a closer look at things. A good scientist always keeps a pen and paper handy, just in case. Always good to have a notebook to jot down interesting information and reminders. I think I left my torch in the desk drawer next to the bed. Whiskey, empty, shame. This fog closed in on us almost as soon as we left port. Haven't seen any landmarks for ages now. I don't know how they managed to navigate. I'd be as good as lost at sea if I was on my own. Not a thought worth thinking. I'm certain this map's a good decade or so out of date, but landmarks don't change much in Greenland, so I've got a pretty decent idea of where I'm headed. From the smell, I'd say there's an equal chance they use this chest for personal belongings or bait. Perhaps I should leave the fisherman some privacy. Fisherman's wife love letter. Dearest Eric, just a quick note before you set sail and leave you once again. I left you another something to remember me by the chest at the foot of your bed. I really don't know why you still have only one bed on board. Taking shifts because of it is in no way to get you rest. Life north, life at sea. I'll be praying every night for you to make the catch you need so that you can come home to me safely and soon. Please don't be gone for 5 weeks like last time. I know I might nag sometimes, but I do love you, you know. I washed these overalls of yours. I know you'll get them covered in assorted fish pots in no time, but I still feel better knowing they had a wash. Before I forget, the Henriksons in the village have asked me to see if you would come in by any drop, but I said they were mostly out of season. If you do happen upon any, don't say everything, stow them well in the ice, and I'll do something special with them to celebrate when you come home to me. The ship's captain deserves a little special treatment once in a while. Take care, my love. Somewhere out there must be land and answers. Pretty oldies, glad I'm getting out of it soon. They must eat and sleep and, well, do everything else in this one room for weeks at a time. A photo of the fisherman's wife. She's no Playboy bunny, but she looks loving and kind. Playboy poster is nice and things don't change no matter how far you are from home. It's a rickety wooden desk. I can get that drawer open. Good thing I remembered to bring a flashlight. The flashlight switches on and off. Now, where's that emergency glow stick? Should still be in the locker. Keys in my inventory. It leads out into the deck, but I don't fancy braving that weather till I have to. The crew seemed friendly enough, but just in case, I locked up my valuables. I'm pretty sure the keys in my inventory somewhere. Once I found it, I can get that padlock opened. Always travel with a padlock, and a key preferably, once mine's in the inventory. The key for my old padlock. Good thing I have my torch at hand. This country seems to exist in a permanent state of twilight. Ah, some extra batteries to power my flashlight. A little wish, but should be a decent fallback if the torch cuts out. Could come in handy if the torch runs out of batteries. I should be able to access it through my inventory. Okay, that should be everything I need. I want to get going before dark. As I stepped off the boat, setting out into the blizzard that had formed around me, I realized how utterly devoted I've been to the discovery of my father's past. I had no idea what to expect. Soon enough, my concerns were justified. I don't know whether I lost my orientation or my spirit first, but I lost feeling in my extremities soon after. A new hypothermia was setting in. I started looking for shelter. Lost in blizzard. Maybe my last entry if I don't find shelter. My entire head will know my mark time ago. I can still hear the wind running past by. Is that some kind of animal in the distance? My rock. I should be able to manage. Coast make me weak, but I can still throw things. Can't get in. The ice is too thick. Frozen solid. Most of the break ice. I hope the cut is not frozen inside as well. So weak. But if I just... I should be able to turn that wheel a bit easier. Oh shit! Ah! Oh Jesus, my head. I can't believe I've heard that far and survived. Although looking around me made dent. What is this place? I should have known that rusty old ladder went home my weight. But I didn't have a choice. I would have died down here than suffered that cold a day longer. A heavy looking wooden barrel could be everything inside it. Empty boxes of ammunition. What is this place? A metal rod. It's a flare. Could be a handy light source. It's a wooden door. I hope it's open. It's stuck. There must be something in the way. I'm in some kind of underground installation, but the only door out of the room I'm in is locked. Need to find some way around. A basic wooden door. These shelves are as old as anything else around here. Could be over 15 years since anyone's been down here. It's a 24-hour ration pack, long past its sell-by date. This hammer's seen some action in its time. This wooden shelf slowly falling apart. A metal shelf. This board's been boarded up a long time ago. The wood looks pretty sharp now. Old as they are, they won't pull off with my bare hands. There's some boards sealing a hole in the wall that I might be able to break inside. This hatch is seriously solid. It won't open by hand. Someone obviously wanted to keep people out or in. Huh. No wonder I couldn't open the door. This looks like some kind of industrial mechanism, although there's a hole in the center and no way to operate it. Oh jeez! What is that? Is someone down there? It fits perfectly comfortably. Jeez. I don't know where this leads or what's waiting for me, but unless I want to starve to death, it's my only option. Besides, maybe this place has something to do with my father. Whatever I was descending into, it was 100 feet below ground, protected by two solid metal hatches, located in a remote Arctic wilderness and buried beneath the snow. I didn't know what to expect, but it made me feel something I haven't felt since I was a child. I'd never given it much thought before, but I realized that our entire society is a network of safety nets, emergency services at the end of the phone line, health and safety in the workplace, friends, family, lovers, all there. If something goes wrong, parts of the carefully designed structure to prevent all but the most mundane of emotions. Once again, I felt like I did when I was in school, surrounded by a close ring of older kids, knowing everyone that might help me. Friends, parents, teachers were too scared or too far away. What the? Oh no, it's stuck. I'm trapped. I need to get out. There could be everything living down here. Heroes are for Hollywood actors and fairy tales. I'm not checking every senses. If I face up against everything down here, I won't last a second. Caution and stuff are my only defenses now. If everyone or everything hears me, I'd be best staying low and out of sight until I know whether or not it's a threat. Crouching will give me the chance to hide in the shadows. I know I got it right because of the blue tint to my vision. Plus, I should be quiet enough that I won't be hurt unless something's right on top of me. Better remember to shut off any light sources though. My best bet is to fight for a couple of seconds or so, perfectly still. That will make me properly hidden. The entrance to the cave has caved in. There must be another way out. Like that, I'd be virtually invincible, and after some time, I should get my night vision back, provided that I stay still. Also, this place must be out as there were still using paraffin lights. Looks like there's still some juice left. A large wooden box. Geez, this typewriter dates back even further than the war. Made in Germany, 1923. Ah, beef jerky, not without aroma. An age-old filing cabinet. Well, I prefer a first aid kit, but at least if I injured, I can go in and bear it. A chest for storing variables, but it's locked. I need a key. Light. I miss being outside already. This place is starting to get to me. But even if I could reach that grate, it looks built into the rock itself. No way it's coming loose. Rotting wooden cells? Must be the added moisture from that grate. This whole room is petrifying. So much history in this place, tied up in words and left to decompose. The text on these pages is ineligible. Layers of damp and cold have dissolved this meaning forever. Ah, there's the key. A bottle of Baxterin might come in handy. It's a picture of a British platoon. It must date back to World War II, I suppose. This mine was converted into some sort of bunker. It's a fairly basic work desk. This place must have been converted into a functional office at some stage in its history. It's an old artifact. Looks very strange. A man. An old man. Clutching something unseen. He is strange, in that he is no stranger, never seen before. Still I know, this man before me is Howard. I call him father. What the hell? What just happened? I don't know if that was such a good idea. An article from a very old copy of the Copenhagen Post. Copenhagen Post article. Copenhagen Post, Monday 17th August 1930. Psychotropic disposed at the bottom of death mine. Researchers at the University of Copenhagen have suggested that mine-altering chemicals naturally soon enter the rock, maybe the cause of high suicide rates at the Greenland mine. The university has recently been conducting studies into isolated communities. First became interested in the workers at the northwestern lead mine last year. They discovered that after even taking into account Greenland's naturally higher suicide rate, local figures for the last 100 years were abnormally high, as 46 deaths per 100,000 populace, compared to the natural average of 29. And for the investigation, experts diagnosed in many of the minds symptoms in common with the earlier stages of paranoid schizophrenia. This has prompted researchers to hypothesize that natural low deposits of lysergic acid, a pH4 formula recently discovered to have hallucinogenic properties, may be present in the rocks. Few locals were conducive to interview, but those who agreed to speak had their own explanations. Inuit spirits know as the Turning Gate live in the mountains. The university is awaiting the results of chemical testing. Studies continue. It's a military report dated 1945. Officer's log, 5th of August 1945. Commander Bunker, Emergency Airstrip Zulu, weekly report. Another remarkable weekend in Greenland. Regular supply shipment received. Standard emergency drills carried out. Routine runway maintenance completed. I have ordered maintenance to carry it out twice weekly from here on out due to increased snowfall. One wounded. The one wounded figure is no cause for concern back in London. The Germans have extended the front line by 4,000 miles. 2 of my men were caught manufacturing cherry bombs in our workshop/armory and succeeded in blowing up a couple of fingers. I take partially responsibility for this, in that I allowed them to have access to the demolition manual we keep in a storeroom, and I'm sure that's where they learned the ingredients. As a precautionary measure, I have now locked up that manual in the chest in my office and will keep the key in my person at all times. Needless to say, both men have been disciplined, and the injured man has to be sent home for medical care. I cannot help but think that a more suitable punishment would have been for him to stay out here, but the matter is out of my hands. The space is so disconnected sometimes. I feel as if this war could end, we might not even hear it about out here. Supply me with order. Dynamite for excavation purposes. 7 bayonets. Not necessary in my opinion, but procedures states that we should have a full complement. 1 industrial ice pick for removing the damn ice that formed the external hatch. 1 pair of reading glasses. Category 7C. An order for myself. My glasses are in a rather poor state of repair and could do more worth replacing. Reconditioning of the mine continues to progress. The structure is being fortified from potential bomb damage. An excavation have previously caved in. Ahead. One point in curiosity is some kind of archaeological find, an artifact buried under the earth and discovered by one of the work teams. Later this evening, after martial duty, I should take a closer look at the artifact. It appears to be man-made and may have working parts inside. I should remove what looks like the front cover and see if I can discover the source of the light which constantly emanates from it. Some kind of chemist tome full of explosive recipes. Big Book of Explosives, 1923 edition. Chapter 1.5, Black Match Fuse. This black match fuse is one of the oldest, simplest, and most reliable fuses used in modern pyrotechnics. It is easy to create. It essentially consists of just string and gunpowder, but be warned, the chemicals concerned will stain clothing, and as always, due concern is advised. Materials required: string, preferably cotton, black gunpowder, backstring. The string should be coated with a thin layer of backstring, which acts as an adhesive. The string is then carefully rolled in the gunpowder and left to dry at least a couple of minutes before use. Chapter 2.1, Dynamite. Invented by Alfred Nobel in 1866, dynamite is commonly used in construction, mining, and demolition. It has proved safer to handle than alternatives such as pure nitroglycerin, provided that is. It has been properly stirred over time. The explosive component of dynamite supposedly made safe by the presence of diaphragmaceous earth has a tendency to weep, weighing in an old box of the explosive liable to detonate on contact. Materials required: 1 part of 3 parts nitroglycerin, small amount of sodium carbonate. Text unreadable. It then simply form into short sticks and wrapping paper. Chapter 2.3 TNT. TNT was first discovered in 1863 by German chemist Joseph Wurlbrand, but it took some years before it yielded its true potential. That was because of the difficulty of making it explode and the lesser detonation in comparison to dynamite. The main advantage was discovered by the German Navy, who employed TNT's relative explosive stability in order to cause massive damage to British warships. Their torpedoes could be detonated inside the ship's mount, rather than exploding the content as did other cells. Chapter 2.6 Armstrong's Mixture. Armstrong's Mixture is included in the book as more of a point of interest than a viable chemical mix. The formula exists as somewhat of a legend in modern pyrotechnics referenced, while these are not legible enough to stay away from it as death mix. The incredible volatility it make it unsuitable for almost all potential applications. Materials required: red forage backstream. This mixture can be carefully and slowly mixed to minimize risks to the chemist. Sulfur can substitute for some or all of the backstream to slightly decrease sensitivity. I may never get used to that.